Everyone to the Two Unholy Healers, to our podcast for today. I'm Keryn Lee and this is Colleen O'Brien with me. We have a great show for you today. We're going to be talking about maintaining energetic boundaries. Colleen.
Yes. And this is about really lovingly maintaining those energetic boundaries. And now that I put that did I spell maintaining right? That just doesn't look right to me. I think it's right. It's just a weird font. It just doesn't look as readable to me.
So good.
Yeah. Sorry, that's I've got a boundary about having to be right, and there it was right there. So thank you so much for letting me do that. This is something that comes up with healers a lot. It is something that we kind of touched on our last episode as well. So hello, welcome those of you who are watching. Thanks for the like. Please do, if you want to put something in the comments to say hi, tell us where you are. If you've got any questions, we'd love to interact with you. Thanks for being here. I'm Colleen O'Brien. This is Keryn Lee. We are Two Unholy Healers, and we're talking about maintaining energetic boundaries today. Hello, Catherine. Thank you so much for being here. Good to see you this morning. So I was going to start just by, let's just start with the take home, right? This is really about honoring yourself. When you honor yourself, it's really easy to be able to maintain those energetic boundaries, even when you've got to say no. Right. Because we as healers, sometimes we want to help everybody, but so it's not easy to say no. But sometimes saying no is exactly what you have to do to honor yourself to keep that energetic boundary. And you can do that without having to get angry. Oh, anger is so good. So good at like, here's the line. Here's the boundary. You stepped over it. How dare you? Like, it's effective, but it's not a loving, healing energy space to come from.
Yeah. And also, when you are setting boundaries from anger, you're doing it because there's something's unresolved or imbalanced within you. If you are truly setting boundaries, you do that from a place of self-honoring. You do it from a place of empowerment. You do it from a place of self-respect. You release those energies and blocks you have about having to heal, fix, and save and help everyone. And then that allows you to show up and truly be authentically you. And when you do that, it's like the boundaries kind of take care of themselves because you have that respect for yourself. So if you have someone coming in that is not respecting those boundaries, there's something else there that needs to be resolved or healed. And I had an example of this in one of my classes with someone that was kind of, taking over the show a little bit. And what happened was it actually made me see how I had to, start setting boundaries that were more clear. Because I hadn't had problems with that until this person came into the class. So for the next class, I actually set up a list of guidelines. This is what is allowed in the class and this is what is not allowed in the class. And I actually had people thanking me. Thank you for letting me know what is required in the class. Thank you for letting me know how this is going to work. And it created so much change and so much respect in the class that it has just been amazing.
Yeah. And I love that. I love that how, it shows how we ourselves as healers haven't figured it all out yet. We're still growing Absolutely. And changing and having experiences that allow us to do that. And how great that we've got clients that show up who stomp over our boundaries so that we can actually be like, all right, I got to do something here. And I think that the example highlights that really key point of communication. Like it's really on us. The responsibility is on us to communicate those boundaries clearly, because if somebody doesn't know where the boundary is, they're going to stumble over it, right? I had two examples. One was, you cannot accuse someone of trespassing if there isn't a no trespassing sign for them to see where the boundary is. But I think the more apt one, and this is from my acting days, is hi, Catherine. How are you? She's a friend of mine from my time zone. So good evening, right? So from my acting days, if you've ever seen an improv show, like any improvisations, right, where they take suggestions from the audience, right? So when you get what's the setting, when you get hey, what is what is your character, or even what is your goal, right? When you have those defined, when you have those communicated to you, it really allows you to be creative, because you have the space in which you're like, oh, these are my boundaries.
Yeah.
And if they're not communicated, like in an improv show, oh, I could be anything.
Yes.
Well, it's you're like, okay, I don't know where to start. I don't know how to relate to the other people in my scene. But as soon as you've got those boundaries communicated, and, you know, they could be very vague, and you can kind of see where the improv thing goes, right? You know, maintaining energetic boundaries doesn't have to always be super rigid, but they do have to be communicated. And so that can be stuff like you said, hey, these are the rules of the class. You know, these are the expectations when you have a session, right? Like, what are the refund policies or cancellation policies? So that you put them up front, so that when somebody asks, you're not necessarily doing it on a case-by-case basis, or having like, oh, no, I feel awkward. You know, like, no, like, decide what they are and communicate them clearly, so that when somebody asks for them, you've already got that there. You know, even your rates, right? Like I love upfront pricing. You know, I actually had something that happened for me very, very recently. You know, somebody had advertised, you know, some sort of group program, and they're like, oh, you know, if you want to learn more, reply. So I replied to the email, and I specifically asked, okay, you know, what's going to be involved? Like, what's the time commitment? You know, what's the cost? Like, what are you expecting of me? And you know, I got a, you know, cut and pasted answer, which is fine, right? Like, if you've got a lot of people coming in, but nowhere in there was the cost. Wow. And it's like, all right, you know, that was my main question. It's something that I specifically asked for. Yeah, like, for me, that's a boundary. Like, I want to know that up front. And you know, asking for it and then not getting that answer. Yeah, I got to decide what I want to do about that. Do I want to ask again? You know, do I want to spend the time applying for this thing and then having them review it and then having them come back? Because I've got other things I'm considering too. And listen to me spinning my wheels trying to justify this. Okay, this is not about how much money is Collean going to spend at her next program. This is about maintaining energetic boundaries and how it can help you, our viewers. So let me just rewind and go back. Where was I? Help me out here. We started talking about money again. About being able to say no. And
also, you were talking about you know, when you're doing your improv, you have a character that has a specific you know, set of guidelines that makes it that character. And I think that's where you were going with this. It's like, if you go outside the boundaries of that, it's not that character anymore. And in terms of, it makes other people, like your fellow actors, etc., it makes them feel safer and more comfortable, because they know who you are. If you suddenly change the character, they don't know where to go with that. And it's exactly the same with your clients. Now, as an example, when I first started healing, I would say yes to everyone. You know, yeah, can I cover the middle of the night? Yeah, no problem. All good. Show up whenever you want. Can I just pay this much? Yep, no problem. I was just happy to have clients. You know what I mean? But after a while, I started to feel resentful. It was like, damn, I just did a really, really good job with that, and you're only going to pay me $30, you know, something like that. It was just like, this is not okay. But it took me a while to kind of step into that level of empowerment to actually say, hey, that doesn't work for me. Now, the interesting thing is, over time, I've got to a point now where I actually love saying no, because what happens is it creates a whole different energy. Now, it's not saying no just to annoy someone or piss them off or just see what happens. It's actually saying no because this just doesn't work for me at the moment. So sometimes I can really feel someone's need. They need to get in for an appointment, but I'm booked up for the next 2 weeks. It's like, okay, I'm really sorry, but I can't fit you in for 2 weeks. Even if I know that I've got a whole day free next week, but that is allocated for me to study or do an exam or a personal matter or whatever. That is
just time. Having a day off, right? Like, that is absolutely honoring yourself.
Yeah. So I would never have done that in the past. I would have overstepped my own boundary to accommodate that person. But I found a couple of things. First of all, It makes people respect next time that, hey, Keryn's not just instantly available for me all the time. I actually need to think in advance. I do find that if someone is in genuine crisis, that universe will open up the doors if it's appropriate for them to receive that help from me. But what I've also found is it makes you more attractive, because you don't have that desperation energy anymore. You don't have that stomp, 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 walk all over me energy anymore. There's that sense of empowerment. There's a sense of boundaries. People feel that, and they're actually drawn to that, but they do it in a respectful way. It has been a real game changer for me to actually set those boundaries.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Because again, as healers, we want to heal people. We want to help people. We want to say yes, but we can't do that at the depletion of our own energy, right? We're not here to save everyone if we're not able to actually save and serve ourselves.
Yeah.
And being of service doesn't mean you have to be in servitude. It doesn't mean you have to be on call all the time. Doesn't mean that you have to be giving your services away for free. It's really, like you said, a very empowered thing. And having those boundaries, communicating them clearly, and honoring them really contributes to that. Now, that's not to say you can't make exceptions to the rules when you are inspired, when you are still maintaining that honor for yourself, right? If you feel guilty, like if somebody puts you on a guilt trip of like, oh, I really can't afford it, that's not going to be maintaining those energetic boundaries in a loving way, right?
Absolutely.
But, and I've had this sometimes with clients too. I had somebody recently who, I just happened to randomly text her and she was like, oh my God, I was going to call you. I actually, have something that's coming up. When can we set something up? And, I kind of felt like, I'm like, I have some time this afternoon actually. And she was like, that'd be great. And it was also on an issue of money. And I immediately got the intuition of like, you know what, she's going to get sticker shock when she sees what my rate is. And so I said, I was like, you know what, this is my rate. Is that okay? Before I would, like booked anything or sent her an invoice or anything, it was just like, you know what, like, hey, this is my rate. And she was like, oh, that's a little high. And I was like, and again, I got the intuition. I was like, you know what, like I can work with you on this. How about, and so we did negotiate on something. And so we found a price that worked for both of us, but it felt really light. It felt really good. It felt like it was really a contribution and it felt very inspired and it was serving both of us.
Yeah.
So because I was the one that offered, I was the one that had that, it wasn't somebody begging me to discount my rates. And I even hate that. You don't count as much.
Exactly. It's like right there in the word, isn't it? Discount.
Yeah. It's not a great, and now there isn't anything wrong with clients asking for something, asking for an accommodation, right? Like I've had people, ask like, hey, could I barter for this? Is it, can we come to some other arrangement? Know too that it's okay for me to say no. And they hopefully most of the time will honor when I lovingly communicate like, hey, that doesn't work for me. I would rather do this, right? Or, offer them, again, you can negotiate or you can be like, nope, you know what? Like this is it. This is what I'm willing to accept. And if they don't, sometimes a client won't accept no for an answer. Or a potential client, I should say, they won't accept no for an answer. And it's okay for you to take measures to block them if they are just begging you and being a nuisance and asking you for, a free healing or just not, it's if they're not respecting your boundaries and you have already taken steps to lovingly communicate those, you are honoring yourself. Yeah. Like you can absolutely have, you have to love yourself first.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, luckily, I don't know about you, but luckily for me, that hasn't happened to me very often. But I do feel inspired to mention it because I think that's going to help some people. Because I think some people are going to put themselves through the ringer and feel guilty. Like, oh my God, this person, they really want to work with me. Like, you know what? Maybe that person isn't supposed to work with you. Like maybe that's how you're supposed to, that's your mission, your role is to show them this is the boundary, right?
Exactly. And then it invites them to step up. because it's like they're trying to get you to they're trying to get you to meet them at their level. But if you're saying, hey, that's not okay, that doesn't work for me, you need to pay this or you need to do this, you're inviting them to step up to your level. That's where the beauty of this comes in. If you drop down to their level, first of all, it's going to be less satisfying for you. It's enabling their victimhood or poverty consciousness or whatever it is, because ultimately every single person is a divine being. And if you see them that way, if you really look into their eyes or tune into their energy, and you have that sense of the divinity in me honors the divinity in you, and you see who they are, then you know that they're not really a victim. They're not really in trouble. They don't really need you to save them. They're a divine being. So if you see people that way, you are honoring them for who they are and where they're at right now. And by maintaining your boundaries, you're saying to them, it's okay for you to be a victim right now. I honor and respect you for that, but I'm actually not going to make myself a victim to accommodate you. I'm actually going to just be me. I'm going to do what's right for me. And if that doesn't work for you, that's fine, because there's plenty of other healers out there that are doing the whole victim thing. So you go play with one of them. You know what I mean? And I don't mean that as a judgment, because I was there once. But I mean it as everyone's at different levels of awareness and ability to create those boundaries, etc. And unfortunately, in the healing industry, there is a lot of that poverty consciousness stuff that goes on. So yeah, it is really about respecting people, acknowledging who they are, and knowing that you're not here to save them. You may be here to contribute to them if they choose that, but there's no victims really. You know, that's all a beautiful game.
Yes. So well said. So well said. Thank you for that. We've got a Carmet. Listen, I can't even speak today. We've got a comment from Lorene that hopefully I can show here. It says, it's interesting when you become aware of a friend that slips into using your skills with no reciprocation. This is a huge, huge thing, because those that are closest to us, our friends, our family, like they're always the ones who are easily slipping through those energetic boundaries, sneaky with it, because, again, we are connected to them. We love them. We are close to them. And yeah, sometimes you do get into a situation where, they're just using you and abusing you. So Lorene, hopefully it's Lorene, not
it's Lorene.
Lorene. Okay. Thank you, Keryn. Clearly you and Keryn are already
She's a beautiful, beautiful friend.
Yes. So I'm curious, like, what did you do in that situation? Like, having an awareness is huge. That's like the first step. But what did you do after you had that awareness? How did that friendship change? What actions did you take?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because like you said, we've often, I think we've all had that with, friends or family, people that are closest, because we love them and we have so much caring for them, that it's very easy to sort of lower those boundaries a little bit. And then before you know it, boom, they're in that door and they're stomp.
Yep.
So yeah, you definitely have to. I think first of all, personally, what I would be doing is I would be clearing my own blocks. I would start working on, okay, what's this bringing up for me? How am I feeling about this? What are some of the belief systems that I have connected to this? That, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I don't deserve to be paid for my services, I have to fix, heal, save everyone, whatever it is. Then I would start working on myself first to clear those deeper blocks. And then what you can do is then address the external situation, because I think if you clear the blocks first, it helps to sort of clear the path and make it easier for you.
Right. When you're already energetically in alignment with whatever you are saying or offering or communicating, it's just so much easier, because you can stand to that authenticity, and the person that you are sharing that with and setting that boundary with, they're getting that on multiple levels, not just you're communicating with language. They're feeling with their energy, and they may not be subconsciously as in tune with you, but we are all very intuitive, right? So they're going to be able to feel that as well. And sometimes just shifting your energy is going to change the way they show up for you automatically.
Yeah.
And that's really fun.
Okay.
Lorraine's
responded here, so let's whack that one in the...
There we go. So she says she tends to get a bit quiet. She makes an excuse to be busy. That's always a great way to, like, I'm avoiding conflict here, but I'm making sure that I'm setting that boundary that way. And then allows them to move through some of them stuff themselves. So that's great. Giving them that space. And a very loving way to do it too, giving you that space, honoring yourself, creating that boundary by creating that space, right? And it reminds me, I'm sorry, it reminds me of like a militarized boundary zone, but that having literal space in between, like one country's boundary and another country's boundary. I don't know why I'm not framed. There we go. That is another way to establish that boundary rather than it just be aligned and butting up against one another. Like giving one another some breathing room can be so great insight there. Very, very well done. Yeah. Nice. Yeah. And did that work? Did that work for you? Does that continue to work for you?
So while we're waiting for Lorraine's comment, I'm going to add something in a bit, which is a bit probably a bit left of center, but it sort of refers to what we're talking about with boundaries. One of the things that I find that really significantly impacts people who have poor boundaries, because this shows up as people pleasing, not being able to say no, feeling attacked or taken advantage of by the people around you. And then what you hear people saying is, oh, I'm so sensitive to energy. It's not actually about the sensitivity to energy. It's about the deeper imbalance that's connected to these boundaries that makes you feel sensitive, because you're suddenly aware, or not suddenly, but you're aware of all these energies that are kind of impacting you. But if you clear those deeper energies, then you don't feel so sensitive. Oh, hang on, quotes, sensitive anymore. Got to get in the screen. And what I've actually found with this is quite often it relates back to trauma in the womb. Now, this doesn't necessarily mean something horrendous, but it may be that, your mother smoked, and so the womb felt like a kind of toxic environment. It might be, that there was a negative experience for your mum, or, whatever. The womb experience is one of the things that I quite often dive into with people with these issues, because that is your very first environment in the physical world. And so often I see that relates to what's happening to things in people's world now, relating to energetic boundaries. So healing that womb trauma can really help you establish that sense of feeling safe in your environment, and feeling that what a healthy environment is, because quite often people don't know if they've been brought up in an environment that is unsafe or unhealthy, or abusive parents or whatever. They don't even know what a healthy environment is, and you kind of need to have that sense of a safe, healthy environment to be able to create that in your daily life, because that environment is very much connected to your boundaries and so on. So we're going a bit deeper with that.
That's a great insight, and something that is perfect to handle in a proper session, which is what Lorraine has said, that if they still continue to not work on themselves, or continue to not reciprocate and asking her for for more help, she'll say, hey, you want to book a proper session? And I'm sorry, that's such a non-American thing, a proper session. You never do anything proper here in America. I love it. I love the way that you guys say that. That's awesome. And I love this too, or maybe suggesting that they find another professional too. That is excellent, right? Because if you are coming from a place of lack and neediness, then of course you are going to want to grab onto that person and let them stomp all over your boundaries and be afraid of losing them, or even losing the friendship. But if you've worked on yourself, if you're able to have those boundaries, it's really empowering to be like, you know what, hey, like, not only am I not choosing this and this isn't contributing to me, it's not helping you either. And so maybe, you have to go elsewhere. So not only did if the space doesn't help, maybe we got to add more space. So that's brilliant. So awesome. So yes, Michelle, you typed in interested in session. Does that mean you're interested in a session with one of us? Or,
awesome. So what we can do is put our details to our website in the post under, or do we have it on?
We have them. Yes.
A banner here.
We have them on banners. Yes, we do.
So let's pop each of them up. So perfect. That's Colleen. Yep, so all of our details are on our website, so you can duck in there and get the details you need about having sessions, because this is definitely a way to go deeper into these issues and clear these unresolved energies and the subconscious belief systems, etc., that you have that create this. And also, just on that, I have a
while Keryn's talking, I'm going to put your website up.
Thank
because that's where your classes are going to be.
This is where I'm at.
Check her out. Yes.
So this one is not online yet, I don't think, but it's coming up. I currently have it scheduled for August, but I don't fully have a date for it yet. But it's called The Real Reason You Take on Other People's Energy. So we're going to be diving into some of these things that we've been talking about today, and the womb trauma stuff and all of that in that class. So if that interests you, maybe get on my mailing list or something like that, so that you get notification of when that date does come up, or check my website. So that's
and
one of the things you can check.
Keryn is brilliant at this. I actually attended one of hers like 12 hours ago. She had a class and I was in it. I woke up at 5 a.m. my time, because I'm here in the East Coast of the United States. She's in Central time zone in Australia. So it was super fun. She's absolutely brilliant. So if that topic is of interest to you, if it turns you on, please do get in touch with Keryn. We'll post stuff here on the page too as well, and get on her email list so that you can get those updates as well. I highly recommend spending some time with Keryn. She is amazing. So awesome.
Thank you. Lovely.
Yes, and you can also book sessions with Keryn as well too, particularly if you were interested in her talking about womb trauma as well, because that is a brilliant topic. And we have some tools. We're both theta healers. We have some tools to specifically address that. There's a tool from the advanced class, if you've taken a theta healing class, called Baby in the Womb, where we do witness sending unconditional love all the way back in time to that moment of conception, and teach your cells what it feels like to have the unconditional love of a parent, of a mother, from that moment that you first became a physical manifestation here on this time-space reality.
And that is really where this started for me, Colleen, because also as a theta healing practitioner, with that exact exercise, the Baby in the Womb one. But what I found when I was doing that exercise, that I would go deeper and it would kind of expand. And so this whole awareness about the womb experience really began with that theta healing technique, and it just kind of grew from that. And also working with people that are a lot of healers and a lot of empaths and intuitives and that are really sensitive to energy. It's such a huge issue, and working with those people, that the awareness of all of that just kind of grew from that. So I'm glad you mentioned the theta healing classes. Can I also say that Colleen is also a brilliant healer? We're actually going to be doing a swap on each other after this session, so we're going to clear up some of our baggage.
Yes.
Yeah, she's amazing to work with.
It's so much fun.
Such a gift to work with you.
Thank you. And I put up Michelle's comment as well, because you mentioned your mother, and so Baby in the Womb can be used for generations back as well. Because of course we as babies, when we're in the womb, we are in the womb of our mother. We're also simultaneously connected to our grandmother too, right? Because you were an egg in your mother's fetus when she was in your grandmother's womb. So it pulling that through the maternal line. You can also do it through your paternal line as well, but I find it's really very, very powerful through the maternal line because of that physical connection we have of having that mother be that first environment. And so important with energetic boundaries, because of course you're still learning vibrationally, hey, what is this new space, right? And you don't always have that discernment or that experience of what is mine and what is mom's and what even is mom. Is this the universe? Is this the world? And mom, of course, like I'm the oldest. There were times when I know my mother has admitted to me, she's like, I had no experience. I had never been pregnant before. I didn't, there were times I was terrified, right? And it could just be like an instant or a moment. But, we are so sensitive and we're absorbing everything that's going on in the environment in the womb too. So we can encode that in as a trauma or something is unsafe. And, it can show up and manifest in other ways, decades later as we're here, developing as human beings and learning, growing, talking, walking, having relationships, etc. So that just that single exercise can be really transformative. Yeah. Awesome.
And also, if your mother had lost children before you, or had an abortion, or anything like that, or there's so many things that can happen. So you imagine that environment of the womb carries those energetics related to that, and I see this quite often with people. So you can also release and heal those energies so that it creates that. It clears the energy within you as well, anywhere that you've picked that up and attached to that. So, we could dive into a whole
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe we'll have to schedule a whole other show about womb healing and your first environment. What did you pick up from there? So thank you. If you had not caught our last episode, you can see that replay. That was on the curse of the poor healer. We did talk a little bit about poverty consciousness here and victimhood. So we have a gift for you. If you would be kind enough to join our email list, you can receive a PDF that we have put together with how to break the curse of the poor healer. And so it's really rich with I can't believe I used the word rich. There it is. I think it works. It is rich with tips and tricks, both practical and energetic, that you can do right now to help change your financial reality. So if you want to go to, we'll add in the comment to that particular URL so that you can click on it. We'll do that in a few moments as well. So for those of you who have already joined our email list, who watched last week, thank you so much. We hope that you're getting some great, what word do I want to use? We hope that the PDF is working for you, that you're actually taking action on what is in there. So that's amazing. But we invite those of you who haven't watched that show or haven't picked up that PDF gift. You don't have to watch the show to get the PDF gift. You can just click on it right now if you want. That is available for you as our gift to you. Also wanted to tell you about our next show, which is going to be in 2 weeks, and which same bat time, same bat channel, and we are going to talk about being behind the scenes of energy healing. Like, we're going to look behind the curtain, and see, see what happens before, before a client steps into their session, right? Like, what do we do as healers in preparation for that? Some of you are already healers, so you may already have a routine for this, but it's also great to kind of share and compare notes as well. So I'm looking forward to talking about that. Having been an actress, I kind of love the behind the scenes aspect that Keryn has suggested when we were talking about our next topic. So I'm really looking forward to that one.
And I'm just going to jump in, Colleen, and address Tyson's comment. I found that people pleasing has been a big issue for me with boundaries. Do you have any advice on managing that? Yes, as we said earlier, you may not have been here then, you really need to address the deeper issues, and this is to do with your environment and your whatever those deeper issues and belief systems are and unresolved energies are within you. You have to address them, because if you don't, if you are just trying to use protection or stay away from people, or whatever it is that you do to try and not take on so much of other people's energy, or not try to not please, be in that people pleasing mode. It's like putting a band-aid on a broken leg. You're not addressing the issue. So that really calls for some deeper energy healing work. I'm not sure if you do energy healing yourself, Colleen. Do you know he does?
Yes, okay. Tyson's a theta healer. Yes.
Okay, beautiful, Tyson.
So hi, Tyson. It's great for you to be here. Thanks so much.
Do some digging on those deeper issues about pleasing others. What do you get out of that? What are you learning from that? Where did that originate? Start asking some of those questions and go deep, because once you clear those energies, you just won't notice that stuff so much anymore. And then actually setting some guidelines and boundaries and saying no becomes so much easier. So yeah, do the deeper work on that one, hon.
Yeah, good question. Good question. Because people pleasing is something we see in the healing community a lot, and nobody wants to be a doormat, right? Nobody wants to have to be in that energy. So yeah, what is that? What are you learning from that experience, and how can you shift yourself so that you can make a different choice? Or people may still be asking you to please them, but you can be more empowered because we all know we are our own best clients. And the more we work on ourselves, the easier it is for us to help others and work with them. So I'm curious. Let us know, Tyson, because I know you work on yourself. You're brilliant at doing the digging. You've been to a number of my practice groups. So I hope that's helpful for you. Let us know.
Thank you so much, everyone, for all of your comments, all of your love, all of your amazing questions. Thank you for being here. We truly, truly appreciate that. We are going to sign off now so that everyone can get about their business and do what they need to do for the day. We like to drop in and give you these short little bursts of information and insights and so on. But we will be back in 2 weeks' time. We'll be putting all the information in the Facebook group. So you will get Colleen and mine websites, you'll get the link to the PDF, and you'll get the information when the next show is on. So thank you very much. Thank you, Colleen. We look forward to seeing you all next time.
Yes, thank you so much. It was brilliant to have all of you here. And so whether you were here live or watching the replay, we love you all. Thanks so much for participating, and we'll see you in the next episode.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye.